Hi, my name is Megan Hickey, and this is my fourth book critique. For my feature book, I decided to choose Indians of the Plains because I thought it would be a little switch of a featured book and be informational, because in the past I've done a lot of picture books about just, little cute stories, so I thought it would be fun to do something with informational. This was written by Ray Baines, and the illustrator was Robert Baxter. The genre is informational, multicultural, and picture. The reading level is fourth grade and up. And this is a super cool book all about the Indians of the Plains, and it's super informational about all the different tribes and everything that the tribes did and how they lived in their everyday lives. And it explained everything from what they wore, how they got food, and what they like to do, like ride horses. For the content area, I have the first one is vocab for fourth grade, and there are some words that the fourth graders may not know. So they will receive a worksheet that will have lines where they can put words, and then their job will be to look up the words and write down the definition so that they have a better understanding of the words. And this applies to the Ohio Standard of Learning, which is benchmark. And the history of the fifth grade is my second content area lesson plan. And there are several tribes listed in this book, and each student will be in charge of picking out a tribe that they like, and they will look up the information about the tribe and put a single slide presentation together, and then they will present that to the class. And this applies to the designer standard of ISTE. And here is my artifact that I created using the Google Slides, and this is all about the Plains Indians and all about their tribe, which was the Pawnee, where they lived, way of getting around, and hair. And then for my second book, I chose Martin de Porres, The Rose in the Desert, and this was by Gary D. Schmidt. The illustrator is David Diaz. The genre is biography, picture, informational, and multicultural. The reading level is third grade and up. And this is a book all about the life of Martin de Porres. And it was super fascinating and really interesting because I didn't realize that how he inspired so many people, and I highly suggest reading this book. And it was given the award of the 2013 Pura Pelphrey Award for Illustration. For my third book, I have Children's Stations of the Cross, and this was written and illustrated by Susan Andrews Brindle, Joan Andrews Bell, and Miriam Andrews Lademan. The genre is informational, picture, and realistic fiction, and the reading level is third grade and up. And this was a story, and it first starts off with a grandpa and his two nephews in a church, and they are looking at all of the stations around the church. And the grandpa wants to say the Stations of the Cross with his two nephews, but then he discusses how it is hard for him to kneel during the stations. But as they go throughout the stations, they realize that even kneeling is way less than what God had to go through. So this book really describes word for word and step by step for children how Jesus really put his life out for us. And I really suggest reading this book. It had a lot of really great illustrations in it. For my fourth book, I chose A Native American Thought of It, and this was by Rocky Landon and David McDonald. The genre is informational and history, and the reading level is fourth grade and up. And this was an informational book all about the Native Americans and all of their inventions and innovations. And I thought that it was really interesting, and just to look back and think about who, first started living in America and how the Native Americans went through life. For my fifth book, I have Giggle Giggle Quack, and this book was so funny and so cute. And the author was Doreen Cronin. The illustrator was Betsy Lewin. The genre was modern fantasy and picture. The reading level was second grade and up. And this was about how Farmer Brown left his brother Bob in charge of the farm while he was on vacation. And Farmer Brown made sure to leave a note so that Bob knew what to do for each day with the animals. And Bob was told to keep a close eye on Duck because Duck could be trouble. And everything was going good for all of the days, but then Duck decided to bring all of the animals into the house and not the farm or the barn. And Duck decided to call Farmer Brown. And Farmer Brown freaked out and he rushed home from vacation to stop Duck from all of his trouble. And this was given an Andrew Carnegie Medal. For the sixth book, I have The War That Saved My Life, and this was by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. The genre is realistic fiction and informational. The reading level is 4th grade and up, and this was given the Newbery Honor Award. And this was a book that was set in World War I, and Ada, who lived with her brother and her mother, struggled a little bit with their home situation because Ada had a twisted foot and her mother was embarrassed of it, so she was not treated the best. So this is all about Ada and her brother escaping from their mean mother, and they decide to run away, and they find a lady named Susan who ends up taking care of them. And I highly suggest reading this book because there's so much action and adventure in this, and it is really, really interesting to read. For my seventh book, I chose You Will Be My Friend, and this book was so funny. I loved it, and it was by Peter Brown. The genre was modern fantasy, picture, and traditional literature. The reading level was 2nd grade and up, and this was a super cute story about Lucille and how she wanted to make a new friend. And she decided one day that she was just going to go out and make a friend. But unfortunately, it did not go as planned. And everything that she was trying to do always went wrong. And when she was just about to give up, a flamingo came up to her and asked if she wanted to be friends. And they played and played, and Lucy made a friend. And this was given the award of the Irma Black Award nominee of 2012 and the Goodreads Choice Award nominee for picture books of 2011. And then for my 8th book, I have Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, and this was by Grace Lin. The genre was modern fantasy and fairy tale. The reading level is 4th grade and up, and this was given the awards of the Newbery Honor, New York Times bestseller list, and Parents' Choice Gold winner. And this was an awesome story about a girl named Minley, and she lived on Fruitless Mountain, which was more of like a poor mountain, and her father would tell her the stories about the man on the moon. And Minley wanted to find the man on the moon so that she could have a better future with her family. And on her quest, she runs into magical creatures and she becomes friends with a dragon. And it is very interesting, and I suggest reading it. These are my books for this week's book critique. Thank you.